Hello! Oh shoot. Turn the music all the way down. There we go. How is everybody today? So many people. Okay. So I did write down some stuff for what to talk about for character design and such. But if anybody has like questions about things they'd like to see, that'd be great too. I think the first thing I will mention is that this is all stuff just from me in particular. Like, I did not go to school specifically for character design. I'll just put that for character design. So like, for more official things and tips and tricks and such, I do recommend first and foremost looking up things from, people who studied this and know how to teach it. This is specifically stuff that I do. So if there is stuff that is wrong, then you came in knowing that. This is just things that I do. So disclaimer. But with that out of the way, I think the first thing that I'm gonna talk about in regards to character design is like the brainstorming aspect of it first. So personally, when I do designing for characters and such, I always like to go in with like one main idea first. And that can be anything from like a color, occupation, personality, stuff like that. So, be based around the color blue, for instance. Or like, they're a scientist. Or maybe they are a bubbly person. There's also something like, I guess the best word would be theme. And this is a very wide one, obviously. And that could be anything from like an object, maybe a music genre, stuff like that. For today, what I'm going to use is actually food. Oh no, Ocean, your sound was off the whole time. Well, this is going to be recorded on Twitch, so you'll be able to see the beginning part there. Yeah, for today, the idea that I came across was food. Specifically, apples. Just because that's like an easy thing that most people know, and it's actually pretty expansive. But yeah, I was actually just about to mention it, Jin, that one nice thing about this way of doing character like brainstorming is that you can do that. If you come up with just random things, you can come up with a pretty unique character by suddenly combining all these things. A scientist with a bluish themed color palette that's bubbly and has a theme of apples. A blue apple is a tiny bit weird, but you can make it work. I might do the blue scientist bubbly thing more later, but specifically I know I'm going to be doing the apple stuff because I thought of a lot of decent ideas in relation to that. So, for instance, if you think of an apple, You think, you know, okay, what do you think of when you think of an apple? Red, but they can be green. The inside, you know, pale yellow. You know, black or brown for the seeds. You know, and even right there, just thinking about that, you immediately start getting a color palette, right? That's why I particularly, like, I do these three, the color, occupation, personality, I do use those, but I often go with the theme object thing more so because it is a little easier because you just suddenly immediately have, you know, like a palette and ideas. For instance, like a Granny Smith one, even just the name, Granny Smith. It's like, oh, okay, you know, green, apple, Granny Smith, it would be older. You know, like you just get things just from the objects. But you know, you get things too, like the shape. You know, sort of the heartish shape with the stem and the leaf. So, you know, you got your pieces. So you can use that, you can use the stem shape, you can use the bottom. And you can also use the seeds from the inside, right? Like a sort of teardrop shape. You could also, because apples are, you know, so common, you can even just use like an apple slice too, where you got rid of the seed part and then have the skin there too. So like, if you wanted a character that had like an apple-ish silhouette even to their head, one idea I thought of was like, give them 2 buns on their head. And this is very rough, obviously. And if you want the stem, you can give them a little ahoge. You could even add, like, if you want leaves, you could add little green ribbons to the hair too. And if it's a silly enough style, you could even have the ahoge be a different color. And like, bam, right there, you got a cute little design for a character's head. Even just going like specifically into seeds. You know, you could have seed, quote unquote, shaped freckles. I'm just deciding on the eye, I guess. Or like makeup or something that looks the shape of the seed. You could have a seed-shaped earring. Again, depending on whatever style you're doing, you could have their pupil be shaped like a seed. You could even, like, have their eyelashes shaped like a seed, or like their eyebrows shaped like a seed. You know? There's just a lot of different things that you could do. You know, they could have a necklace. It's got, you know, like seed shapes. Yeah, sure. You can guess ahead of time what one of my ideas may be. The necklace was a nose for a second. You could even do something like, I really like overalls. So you could have like, you know, buttons on overalls, or just a coat, or anything shaped like seeds. Like, like you're seeing right here, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, actually, Jin, I was gonna do, you know, like something poofy, the like bottom of a skirt or the shape of a apple for like shorts and such. But like, as you can see, just from apple seeds, there's like 7 ideas right there for the theming of an apple, right? And like these will work for a bunch of different characters. So like even if it wasn't somebody that would, you know, maybe not wear accessories, it's like, no, they could still have like freckles or makeup or such. Strawberry shortcake designer. Yeah, maybe. One of the cute ideas I had in terms of, I love, for apples in particular, they have this really like poofy shape. So like, you know, you could have, that could be a minor influence for big poofy sleeves, which is one of my favorite things. And again, like you could have the shirt be, like maybe they're wearing like a dress that's green or something. And you could have that feeling of leaves by having it tie at the shoulders here. Right? And like, if you wanted to emulate a stem at the top of the head too, you could do just like a pony even. Again, with a red ribbon for, or red ribbon, a green ribbon for a leaf design. And then like red hair, because apples. Yeah, chokers would definitely work. There's all sorts of things that you can think about, and like we haven't even gotten into like apple slices. You can even go further and just do apple recipes, like apple pie. You know, it doesn't have to specifically be, you know, the red apple even. It could be Granny Smith apples, yellow apples, ambrosia apples, all those different kinds, gala. You know, like there's just with apples, there's so many different avenues you can take. You could do even like get started on your apple magical groceries. That's the other fun part, is that when you come up with this many different ideas, even if it doesn't work for the character you started out with, you can use it for another character. Like, you know, if your character had a brother or sister, stuff like that. Another one I thought of was like cute poofy shorts. You know, like just keeping that general shape, stuff like that. You know, maybe even add in the seed buttons we see. What about... And bear with me on this. It's there. You're late. Apple bottom jeans. Yeah, so like design wise, we've already gotten so many things like just out of a red apple. So, and it really works to not limit yourself. Like think of as many kooky things as you possibly can. Like the apple bottom jeans, like that's great. And then like chokers, Lufigo mentioned earlier too. The whole thing that you should be aiming for is just keep thinking, keep the ball rolling, right? Because, you know, even if you come up with something that you're like, you know, maybe I'm not too fond of the earrings in the end or something. I don't have to use that. I have 6 other things that I can use, you know, in that avenue. And, like, it'll still work. There's still a lot of different options. And it's so much easier to cut back when it comes to brainstorming than it is to push things forward. And like the biggest hurdle is like, you know, I don't think this idea will work, but put it down anyway, because it might lead to one that will work down the line. Yeah, and like Googling just clothes designs, stuff like that, even recipes in this case, you might see something and be like, ooh, I like how they, you know, plated this dessert with apples or something. Like, you can get inspiration from pretty much anywhere. This idea actually came from the fact that I'm in my original series, the ITM. What I'm probably going to end up doing for a lot of the towns is stuff like this, where, you know, one town will have the NPCs themed around food, right? So like, I'm kind of getting a head start actually, you know, of just the apple stuff. But it could also be like bananas. You know, I said food. It could just be limited to fruit. There's just so many things that you can do just with that. And, you know, like apples, blueberries, stuff like that. There might even be like fruit market in that town, you know, like just theming it all around that. And because that'll make it a lot easier to just come up with designs on the fly and actually fill a town. It's also just really fun. Oh yeah, the bubbly blue scientist. I never did get around to the skirt, but it probably would have been, you know, poofy this way. But yeah, even if we wanted to do the blue scientist bubbly, I actually talked about this with kids when I was talking about character design things, was I did a little exercise where I had them think of two things, so like a scientist and say the apple, and then they had to write down 3 things that they think about with those 2 words. So it was like, you know, lab coat, you know, goggles, and I don't know, a beaker. And then the same thing with the apples, you know, red, you know, leaf, you know, seeds, stuff like that. And then using these 6 things, they would be able to combine it into the character, right? So, you know, a lab coat is a really big, easy scientist sign design-wise. Oh god. So, like, you know, this design from earlier, we could have this underneath a lab coat. Or something. Or they could have the lab coat. Oh, yeah, bubbly. They have the lab coat. It's not as striking, but like they have the lab coat around their poofy shorts, so it doesn't take away that silhouette or something. And then, you know, maybe they're holding a really bubbly beaker. And like maybe their head looks like this. And hell, if you wanted to go literally bubbly, exactly, they're bubbly, not safe. You could have, instead of, you know, the seed based pupils and such, you could design their eyes but looking like literal bubbles, right? Oh, maybe they have like blush marks that look very bubbly, you know? I love Sapphire Smith, the bubbly blue apple scientist, and her granny, the green knot scientist. But yeah, like, you know, even though we're like kind of like joking around and such, we just made a character and her grandmother. You know, and like, as you guys are saying, this little design there, with the coat being tied around her waist, and then like this potion obviously like not being contained in the bottle. Bad lab safety right there. That is character. Right there in the design. And like, oh right, I need I need to debate on I don't stream a lot, so I don't know what the like limitations are, but I know that there's like a box you can click somewhere that's like, this is mature content, specifically because like swearing, which I might need to check at some point because I do swear. I'm gonna probably not this time, but it is part of my usual vocabulary, so I might need to consider that. Anyway, yeah, you guys can see that like we're just effing around, and you know, like we came up with something so fun in just what, like 20 minutes, right? Like, just playing around, fiddling with things, you know, like go back to your child roots and play with the blocks, you know, imagination, spreading it out all over the place, just having fun with it, right? Heck, even these shapes could be like, you you could use them for like her expressions. Like if she's sad, she's got the top of an apple shape. If she's happy, it specifically looks like an apple slice. If she's sad, her tears always look like apple seeds. If she's happy, it looks like the bottom of an apple. You know, like the heck, even the apple slice leaf thing. You know, a different character, maybe an older one, could have like, I'm on blue right now, so it doesn't really work. Green lipstick to emulate leaves, or like the light yellow of the inside of an apple to imitate apple slices. You know? That actually went a lot faster than I thought it was going to. So one other thing I did write down, and Jin knows about this because we were chatting while I was doing a lot of naming for my characters. Sometimes I actually will take inspiration for characters and like build on them via sorry, my throat's a little dry. Via thinking of names or finding a name that I like. You know, sometimes I might might not know a lot about a character that I'm thinking. Go get some apple juice. I do have iced tea right here, but I am running out. So basically, I'll find a name I like, and I'll find out what that name means. And sometimes it'll be something unexpected, and I'll tie that meaning back into the character. God, jeez. And like obviously sometimes when people are looking for names, they'll usually be looking for something that fits Jesus, the character that they already have in mind. That's what I was thinking of, Jin. That actually happened with Hayden. Her last name is Dirge. And I don't remember the exact name meaning, but it was like something to do with a funeral. So no specific spoilers, but I incorporated that into her backstory. Yeah, there you go. I'm not well versed in these things. So, and like that was early on, right? So there was not very much applied already. So that was easy to slide in there. I wrote that really big. Yeah, I think one of the biggest things of advice I can say when coming up with characters, and like not just design, but don't be afraid to experiment and change things, tweak things, because you can end up coming up with really, really interesting ideas that way. Because it's often really hard, and I feel frustrating to come up with one idea and just stick only to that idea and not allow anything that doesn't fit into that mold. Because things that go outside that mold are often the really fun stuff. Even like the small things, like you know those characters, the tall, big, scary-looking, stoic characters that have a love of gardening. That little tiny thing is always so endearing, right? And just like playing around with it, and you don't even have to like play around with it in canon. It can just be off to the side. Gat moe, yeah. Just testing things out, and even like actually, I wonder if for instance, Gerald's first design. I remember it was like a coat thing. I'm just trying to find it. I'm in my files right now. I don't know if I have it here. Yeah, I do. So it looked like this early on. And I kept the poofy pants and such, but when I was like coloring, I realized that this top part, I liked drawing it, but coloring it, trying to make sure that the colors were nice and coordinated was really weird because of just the length of it and all the lines and such. So even though I did really like the look of it, it was just really, really tough to get the colors to look the way I wanted them to. So then I just kind of scrapped it. And yes, I mourn the loss of this top as well. But that is something you do want to consider for... we talked about this a bit last time. So in comics, because I'm drawing these characters a lot... Well, this is going to be a visual novel, but... when I'm doing comic designs, like the redesigns for Xenoblade, I know that I'm going to be drawing them a lot. So I simplify it because I don't hate myself. You know, like, if you're going to be drawing this character hundreds of times, you don't want it to be super complex and detailed, because that is just it's going to look nice, but it's not going to be as flexible, just because even just thinking of like dynamic poses for something that's more complex looking is a nightmare. You know, like if I'm just thinking of a sick person, you know, like I'll do dynamic poses, just easy, yeah, because it's simple. You know, I don't have to worry like, how is his clothes gonna fold over? How is their sword gonna be held? Yada yada yada. It doesn't matter because it's a stick person. And the more details you have on that, even subconsciously, you're gonna be like, you'll be like, oh yes, stick person, I'll put them in this pose because it's just this tiny thing and you don't even have to worry about it. But then it's more like, I don't really know when it's all these different aspects that you have to keep track on for every single, like, movement of the arm and such. And then when you have this much to consider, you often do the stale poses because you're like, I know how to do this. I know how to do this one. I've done this one a decent amount of times. I don't want to get out of this comfort zone. One trick that I kind of do in terms of simplification of a design is once I come up with a design that I do like, I do something that's like, and I'll repeat again for anybody that wasn't here at the start. This isn't professional stuff. This is not, you know, something you would learn in a class, anything like that. This is just what I do. So, and it might help you too, yes, but, you know, first you should probably read a book or watch a video from someone who's studied stuff. But what I like to do for simplification is I'll make the design, you know, in the designing phase, whatever it is. And then I'll look at it for a really long time, minimize it, and then I'm going to try to redraw it. And the reason I would do this is to see what sticks. Because whatever sticks, you know, on that first go, really worked. And, like, obviously you're not going to remember everything, but it does help to inform you on what is immediately, like, what immediately catches the attention, what immediately stands out, and it might even inform you on, like, oh, I made this top have longer sleeves when originally I had it going just, you know, to the elbow. And you might find that, oh, I like it with longer sleeves because you just kind of instinctively, you weren't in the design phase anymore, so you weren't thinking about all that stuff, and then you kind of went to the subconscious side of things and go, oh, yeah, I actually like the longer sleeves. So then you can actually change it at that point to fit that new discovery. I actually do this sometimes, like, in the middle of drawing comics, where one actually good example I remember from the Xenoblade 2 comics, wherever it is, there it is that this was the very first time I drew Rex, and if you guys have seen these ones, you might notice that his top of his vest here is actually mostly brown, right? Like, we got, I picked a color very close to it. We've got this area is very big, and, like, the blue is kind of like a tiny vest. But over the course of the comic, I changed that because it was just kind of awkward to draw it that way. And it was more comfortable to draw it, where's one that he's in? I guess, like, here. Yeah. I made it come down more, and the blue was more prominent than the browns. I also think a part of that was that I liked the blue more than the browns, so I wanted the blue to have a bigger presence. Because here it was like, especially in this one, there's a lot of the brown there. And I really liked this blue. So I really wanted to make it a bigger part of the vest. So this got longer, and the brown didn't get shorter, but it got covered more. Oh yeah, this was something that Jin actually pointed out to me that I just kind of accidentally did. But this is going to go into designing a group of characters. So something you can do in those terms, and honestly, I don't even end up doing it a lot. It just kind of accidentally happens, mostly because I keep my palettes pretty similar. But you can have something as simple as a unifying color. So like our GM's character has red there. Char has this nice red sash. Claire is the different one, where she doesn't actually have really much red on her. Sometimes she'll have a rapier that has a red handle, but then her closest is kind of this bow. And in a way, it kind of fits because she is really the oddball out. And the bow is like getting there, and I could change it to red if I wanted to. Jack has this red scarf. Janessa has red eyes. And then Opaloid has red hair. So like, people all sent, like in my group, all of the people sent me their ideas for how they wanted their characters to be drawn. And so actually, I think they had like dimensions of red for a lot of them. But like, none of that was really planned or anything. But it created this small unifying aspect of the designs for everybody that kind of links them all together. Yeah, I don't know how long. I'll go for maybe 20 or so more minutes. But like I said, it will be recorded and it'll be on Twitch, and hopefully I remember to eventually upload these to YouTube. But yeah, having, if you guys can see on the side here underneath the color wheel, I have this palette that I always use. And having a general palette can help to keep the colors of your characters looking like sort of consistent and grouped together. Where did it go? Looking for... Is it in here? Yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah, Opaloid looks really sick, even though he is the healer. And he's got like the smoke coming out of his hands. Really neat. So in the ITM designs, which like I designed all these guys separately, and I just kind of went with stuff. But even with these guys, you can see that they have, you know, like this red and this. Very similar. Same that Ribbon has, you know, red there, and then you can't see it in this picture, but she does have red in her eyes. Lara's got the red here. Candace has red in her punching gloves and her shoes. Nad's whole thing is red. And then like Sherry's got red there. So even just the one color has the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Half of them, right? I just have to continue the music. And then the same thing goes for, you know, like purples. We've got the purples there and there and there. Sherry's got all the stuff. She's just rainbow. Purple in Mary's skirt. Purple with Haley's ribbon in the middle there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And like, I don't, oh, and then even the purple tint in ribbons. So like, that's 8. So, you know, not every single one of the characters has, you know, like Gerald doesn't have the red with 14. Pam's got orange. Shares with... there's also yellow, which Pam has. Same with Mary's accents. Sherry wanted to be everybody's friend, so she's got all of the colors. And then Candace has yellow. Mallory has yellow. Yellow in Hayden's hair. Yellow with Azure's hair. Yellow with I pulled those buttons, yellow in Gerald's coat. But yeah, you guys, yellow here with her brooch, yellow with the shirt. But yeah, basically you guys can just see that having that palette in general slowly connects, you know, a bunch of the characters together. Like, even though there is the 14, they still are decently a unit. Probably the only odd one out is greens. Partially just because green is like, it's one of those colors for me that's not the easiest to integrate. I don't know why. It's just, I guess, my least favorite color, I guess. I don't really know. But we got Sherry, Haley, and Hayden. And I don't think any, like, Mary's kind of got like teal going on, so it's like half. But hilariously, that actually works for the character stuff and history stuff. Yeah, and as Jin said, like, there are certain reasons for stuff like that, which hilariously, again, I didn't plan that. It just kind of happened. But yeah, I definitely do recommend to just make up a little palette. You could even, like, if you wanted, you can screen cap mine. Because personally, I really love my palette. I really love it a lot. The first thing I did when I got my new computer was, with my old computer, I sent myself a screen cap of my palette so that I could put it on Psy on my new computer. Oh yeah! Yeah, Hayden and Haley both have fancy dresses with bows and flippy hair as well. But yeah. ITM is actually a interesting part of talking about character design, because depending on what you're making characters for, sometimes you can kind of create systems that make it a lot easier. So in ITM's case, eye color and hair color actually do matter. So, like, because Mary has blue hair, that means she's good with ice and water magic. Mostly water, but she can do ice. Same with the fact that her eyes are blue. They have shades of blue in there. That means that she has a natural affinity for ice and water stuff, right? So what this means with the whole elemental system going on there is that the character can inform the design, and then the design can also inform the character. So you could come up with either one first, and it'll help the other with the little system. Honestly, I have the hardest time recalling Haley's name for some reason. So in my head, I call her Toothpaste because that's what her hair color reminds me of. I mean, honestly, I could see Riven giving her that nickname, Skittle. But yeah, so in the case of ITM and a lot of other things too, where they have designs that are specific, like that have specific meanings, it can really help to keep this sort of cycle going in character design, where, you know, maybe you can't think of what the character is going to be, but you kind of have a cool design in mind. So, like, if we pretend that, you know, I didn't know what, let's see, who's a good example? Nad, or not Nad, oh my god. Forgot my other name. Oh, Val, I'm so sorry. Val. I was gonna say Nad, that's why I did that. Fire. She's got blue eyes with some pink in there, but you can't see in this picture. That means that she is actually naturally good with water and light/healing. But she chose fire, as shown by her hair. So that right there kind of shows this like difference. So immediately you see her design, and if you know the rules of the ITM verse, you immediately have the question, why not these two that she's talented with? And in fact, like, these two are like opposites. So her getting to fire is actually a bit more difficult. You know, there's some sort of story there that you can work with. Which I honestly, I haven't even 100% decided on what that specific difference would be. I think it was the fact that she wanted to be stronger and just was like, fire, that sounds like a good thing to do. Especially because Apollo was so supporty. She was kind of like, you know, it'd be good if I went towards offensive stuff, which fire worked in that way. Oh no, I just realized that the whole water, her being talented at water and light thing was just totally overshadowed by the fact that Apollo took that role. So like Val probably would have been a healer, but then Apollo was like, bitch, that's my job. And the Valor was like, okay, fine, I'll be the fighter, I guess. But yeah, so like even right there, the design informed something about the character. And I think that if you can make a system, or you don't even need a system, honestly. Like that's what we did with Sapphire Smith, the bubbly scientist here. You know, this informed her character in that, you know, she's not very careful with scientific procedures. And like even thinking of it that way, you're like, well, how did she get her job as a scientist? Maybe her Granny Smith is like the leader of this science board or something, and it's like, no, she's not going to be fired. You know? There's just all these scribbles across here. I guess another thing that I can mention as far as character design goes that I do, again, definitely recommend reading a book or something on specifics. This is off in the distant past, but Val and Apollo's eyes were execution of the theme design thing earlier. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Thank you, Jin. Where is it? So one of the things I really like in ITM that I've done is very specific eyes. So at first I was just doing Daryl and ribbons with nice colors that I liked. But I think it was Val and Apollo that really kicked off theming eyes. So Val's eyes are actually based on like a pink-blue flame. I don't have the image anymore, I don't believe, but that's where her colorization of her eyes came from, is to sort of invoke that image that I found. And then Apollo's, you can see there's a little bit of yellow there, and this blue with some white, is supposed to give off the image of the sun on a bright blue day. And like maybe the white is some clouds. Right? And like, so that's really abstract, but that gave me the ideas for the colors and a bit of the design. Same thing with Azure's, actually. So like hers was the idea of a lightning bolt coming down, and then I just like paint. So like a twilight or something, right? Haley's is very obvious. It's like a swoop-de-loop of wind. Mary's is actually supposed to invoke almost a fish lens thing of the moon shining on the ocean, right? So like that light, and then the black being the night sky. I remember that. Right? Yeah, no, Haley's are really pretty. I really like how the color came out in those. For Pamela's, it was kind of to invoke a feeling of a forest, but I think I did it like more upside down-ish, where, you know, like the top of the tree is here, and then the bark of the tree was more up there. Sherry's just the rainbow. She's just the color wheel over here. She's a Sherry Sue. I don't remember. I think I was going for like a plasma-y color scheme for Candace. I don't actually quite remember. Nadalia's is obviously a flame, kind of burning this way. I wanted it to be kind of an invert of Mary's eye because they're the twins. Haley's was meant to be like ice for the color, and then I wanted a target with the pupil in the middle. Yeah, yeah. I was doing all of these at once, and I was starting to run out of steam. And then some of the early ones too. Like, I don't think I had a specific thing in mind for Hayden's, as far as I remember. Like maybe a little like lake at the bottom of a like grassy plain or something. But Lyra's is like a mountain, and again, Riven's was one of the first ones. So, but yeah, so like you can see some of the theming in there and how I got ideas for colors. Just out of those ideas and such. I had someone once where I showed her eye, Riven's eye, like I showed off this picture, and they looked at Riven's and they said, "I don't trust her." I was like, "Why?" Her eyes, they're not trustworthy. I was like, what? What are you talking about? But yeah, that has a lot of the theming and a lot of the same palette stuff that I was talking about before too. For the most part, for the eye colors, not the skin colors, so the skin colors I believe are just on the sides here. I was gonna say, Jin, that I think one of my inspirations for Riven's eyes was a dragon. I don't know how it exactly translated into what I did here, but I feel like I was thinking about that. But yeah, so I have the skin color usually on the left, and I believe most of these stuck to 4 colors in the eye. So like Gerald has 4, Valerie has 4. Paul does 4, Azure has 4, Haley has 4, Mary has 4, Pamela does have 4. It's like blurred in her eye, but there's 4 there. Sherry is the special one that has, oh friggin', 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, technically 10 because there's white in there. She got ditched. She stole all of them. 4, 4, 4, 4. 4. Yeah, so Sherry is the only one that I didn't do 4 colors. Oh, shoot. Oh, do I still have... I just remembered an image I had. I think I deleted it, though. Crap. It would have been really good for this. She basically... Yeah, she is very... talent... Like, this means that she is talented in everything. Not gonna lie, Sherry is definitely one of my my favorites in terms of character. God, do I have any? I don't think I do. If I have one of my 3 tonal comics, it'd be a good show for this. I'm trying to remember which ones have 3 colors. Mario Party. Okay. Sure, I'll go with this. Okay. So, when you're aligning the different colors for your characters, or at least when I do this, again, read a book, watch a thing, this isn't professional, it's just what I do. Oh shoot, no, I did have a freaking, I saw it. Where is it, Gerald? Where'd he go? I know you're in here. Saw you, there you are. Okay, so palette thing. I literally had it right there. So the 3-tonal thing, these comics, helped me to realize something when choosing colors for characters, and that is that it tends to look really nice if you have, like, the lightest level, the sort of, like, second, medium, getting darker, and then darkest. So, like, these 5 levels to them. I tend to find that that makes for a more balanced palette. So, oh my gosh. I might just have to reopen this. So I'm just gonna close that. Please be in here. There it is. Okay. So if I changed all these, and these might not be perfect because I just kind of drew up these designs. I honestly did not think about them too much. But if you make them into grayscale, you can see there's like medium point, dark point, medium, light. You get what I'm getting at? There's not like all the dark together or something. And there's not all the light together. They're all broken up. So like this light section has the mediums in between. The shirt he's got underneath his jacket is separated by the boots that are the same by the medium pants here. Yeah, like I said, not all these are going to be perfect, but in general, that's kind of something I strive for, is to keep the values a bit different. Like, for instance, Apollo's hair could maybe be a bit darker, just because her shirt is also very light. But currently, I really love how her hair looks, so. But yeah, you can actually see the same thing that happened with Gerald's shirt and his boots is happening with Apollo here, where her skirt and her boots are the same, and then she has really dark tights. And then, like, the buttons on here are medium. And then even here, like, Haley's bow could possibly stand to be a bit darker in terms of what I'm talking about right now. I feel like that's partly what I used to somehow come up with Sherry's design. But yeah, if you're stuck on colors, this can help. I don't tend to use it too much, but it often, like, happens by accident. Yeah. Skittle says, what's good to keep in mind, I think, is that making sure your values are balanced, but it's not a hard rule. And honestly, I'm gonna be real here, there's not really, honestly, too many hard rules as far as I am concerned. Especially if you're doing art as a hobby, especially. It's about expression, it's about putting what you want to put on the paper, getting, you know, what you want out of the art. And that's going to be a lot of different things. I know that back in the day, everyone and their mother was using the don't shade with black. And then they wouldn't explain why. So I literally did a set of pieces where I was like, I'm going to shade with exactly black to try and make it look good. And it became one of my favorite sets of pieces ever, right? So, like, sometimes you can break the rules and have it be even, like, better than you expected. A lot of it is just experimentation and practice and that too. So there are, like, guidelines and tips and tricks and such. But ultimately it's up to what you want it to look like. So we just got to about an hour. Was there anything else that people were curious about or that we should try out? I love how I picked like the saddest picture of him. Actually, that's not the saddest picture of him. I wonder if I have anything. Oh, one thing I guess I could go over just as one last thing because I remembered it. Crap, I don't have like an official picture of him. I have a picture of Ruby. Oh, it's drawer. So I don't know how many of you know the web series Ruby. Why'd you pick me to do this? Yeah, poor Daryl is like the Daryl. Honestly, I don't know. I always say Daryl, but apparently it's supposed to be Jarell. I think. I don't know. My boy, I'm sorry. But Ruby in RWBY, her design, her first one, is, oh my gosh, it's 1 AM. Ah! It's so late. Oh no. Oh no. I should make it maybe. It's hard to pick a good time to do these things. But basically what I was gonna say is that Ruby from Ruby, not confusing at all, her initial design is really good with the theming of her team because RWBY stands for red, white, black, and yellow. And Ruby has almost all of those colors. Like her main color, shown off by her big cape and accents and such, is red. And obviously, you know, Ruby is her name, so Ruby. And then like her skin is like deathly white. Probably should honestly be checked out, but whatever. So red. And then we got black. And then I'm gonna do like a light blue because it's white on white, but white. But she doesn't have like any yellow on her. It's really sad because her sister is the yellow. And most honestly, most of them don't. Like one of my biggest things, I love Weiss. Weiss is her name. Her design is awesome, but she has this collar on her first one where like it's got red on the inside here. The dress itself is white, and then there's black here, and I'm like, oh, it's beautiful. And then their buttons are silver, and I am like, why? Why would you not make these yellow? It was perfect, and honestly, if you're asking me, it looks better. Just to me, it looks better. It adds a little bit of nice warmth in there. It connects really nice with the red. It's right near the black. It's the whole team right there, but they went with the silver. And I'm like, why did you do that? You had it easy. Same thing with kind of Ruby. She has a lot of silver, which goes well because she has silver eyes, which is an important thing. But she has a lot of silver on her outfit. Like little trinkets, silver buttons. And you might have to tinker a little bit with it, but like, again, why did you not make them yellow? Why, Yang, her name, why is Yang left out? Where is she? Get her in there! But, yeah, that was little Ruby rant, I guess. But, And thank you, Lufico, that I could do it at 5 a.m. your time and you still join. That's awesome. I really love chatting with you guys. They probably tried it out and decided it didn't vibe very well. But I think it does. Jin, Sanuki screaming, "Where is my daughter?" And yeah. And yeah, so I think that's about it for this time. Fun as always. I really enjoyed that one. Except for when I was choking midway through, apparently. So next week, I believe that I think I'm gonna go over shading and lighting stuff, which is really fun. So hope we'll see you guys there again. And I hope you guys enjoyed it this time. Hopefully I can actually get, I was gonna try to put up, like, images as a new scene or something. To, like, make the stream a little bit more visually nice. But I didn't get around to it, I was kind of busy. I'm kind of busy this month. I work quite a few days. But, yeah, we'll slowly figure out the stream stuff as time goes by. And we'll keep talking about, drawing. And, yeah, Poke Emblem, don't worry about being quiet. I lurk in streams a lot, too. I totally get it. And, honestly, it's just fun to chat with you guys anyway, so yeah, we'll see you next week at the same time, hopefully, as long as nothing pops up, and yeah. Oh, yell at me if I haven't uploaded anything to my YouTube. Bye-bye!